Welcome back again, everyone. Last time my video was the last video was talking about the integration between front-end Angular and the Keycloak, and how to get the token and also the username on the front end. And now we are going to extend that idea so that we can register the user from a front-end part, and then we're gonna save it, take the Keycloak user ID, and then we use the user ID to create the user or the parent in the back end. Okay, the reason being that I'm not creating the parents directly into the app, because the idea was parent, administrator, and trainers are going to be created in the Keycloak, and from Keycloak it's going to be we are extracting, or we are fetching the Keycloak user ID, and then we are creating the entities based on that ID, so that makes the app consistent. Okay, if we are creating one entity in the backend or for the apps, and then one entity for the Keycloak, there might be discrepancies when the app scales. So we are making sure that every user which are going to be in the application databases are the ones that only registered on the Keycloak. Okay, so last time I think we can see here, I think if we go for a local host 4200, last time I think we're here. So login, take a profile, get a token, and call the backend. Now we are going to extend that idea. If you see here, I already prepared it. So we are going to use the Keycloak admin surface or Keycloak builder. I think it's on the documentation on the Keycloak org.keycloak on the Java. So let's get into it. So the first, we are creating the Keycloak object and called the Keycloak, and then we are going to call the admin surface. This is the modify method that we created for the class Keycloak admin surface, and then we create the instance Keycloak, and it uses the Keycloak builder, and this is the localhost that we are using. And then this is really important, that the realm is not our realm. For my project, it's going to be a DO project, but we are going to use the master project first, the master realm. Okay, because on the master realm we have been provided from the Keycloak. It's going to be the admin CLI ID, and the username and password is admin. This is the base one. Okay, we are not using our realm, but we are using our master first, our master realm with the admin and admin password. Okay, so if you are going to look at it on the front part, it's going to be here. It's localhost 8081. You see here, it's admin console. Okay, it's going to be different from what I have later on. For the login part, if you click here login, it's going to say it's my project here. Okay, so it's a client ID, it's swim app, while here the client ID is security admin console. Okay, so it's different part. Okay, so if you're logging in here, it's the administrator level, it's the realms that the master that is provided from the Keycloak itself. Okay, so that's really important. And then now we are fetching, we are creating the user into the Keycloak using the Keycloak builder here, and then we are returning the UUID. Okay, the UUID is going to be the Keycloak user ID, and it's with the type UUID. Okay, and then it's a little bit deeper on the documentation. If you are reading the Keycloak org.keycloak representation here, you can see on this line Keycloak representation role that there are like some information that you can go a bit deeper on that one. So we basically just creating a user representation object, called user, and then we set username, and we take that username from the DTO. Here you see the arguments, so the registration request DTO that we already provided on the back end. The email is also first name last name, and then we are going to set the enabled true. It's from the Keycloak settings, I guess. And then this is really important, the password, we use the credential representation. So I think in Keycloak they use a separate object to fetch the username information and also the credential information. So they differ that one, so they don't store it in the same one as the user here. They store it in a different part. Okay, so yeah, we create the instances, credential, and then we set the type of credential. It's going to be password, and then we set the value of the password that the user provided. Okay, and we set the password we set the temporary password false. If we set it true, that it means that the user must renew or must update the password accordingly. Okay, and then we add the credential, or we persist the credentials into user. We add the credential into the user information here, so the user has this credential, and then now we are going to have the response. Now the response is going to be from our realms. You see the difference here? Previously we are using the master realm for the login. Now for the response we are going to use our realms, because we are going to fetch the user which is on our realms, and the user create user. So we are creating this user that we already defined on the user representation into our realm. Okay, and this is just the check. If the creation was failed, they will throw this runtime exception. And then this is really important part, we fetch the ID. Location is just the response. If you are using the if you're using the Open API here, I think if you go for here, so the location is here. So the location is about here. This is the location, and what the code does is get the location and find the last location here, which is going to be so example here, after the last slash and +1, so it's about here. Okay, and then there's another role representation. Okay, so we can store the role, and then I already create the role here called parent. You have to set it up first before you can be here, otherwise it's going to throw an error. So before you assign the role here, you might have to create the roles on the Keycloak side using the admin. Okay, and then we are assigning the role here. So this is the adding the role parent, and so now we injecting, or we assign the role to the user, and then we return the ID, and we convert it from string to UID. Okay, so again, here from the Keycloak, the pipeline is going to be like this. We create a Keycloak instances, and then we log into the master realm using the administration password and username, and then we create the user using the user representation, and then we set the password, but the password is going to be on the credential representation. So we create another instances, assign the password, set the credential to the user, and then we fetch the ID from the user, we add the role of the parent, and then we assign the role to the user. Okay, That's all. And then we are going to the logic or the business logic from the parent. So we're injecting the Keycloak admin service here, also the mapper and the repository. So don't forget the transactional, because it's going to be a post on the API. So we are going to have the response DTO as a response, and the method name is register parents, and it's going to be it takes the registration request DTO as a parameter. Okay, so this is another check. We set the Keycloak user ID null, so we can check. We have a try and catch block here. We set the Keycloak user ID from the Keycloak admin service, create user DTO, because what we hear, create user DTO, returns the UID. So if it's successfully, we create parent entities called parent, and we set the ID from the ID that we are getting here from the create user from the Keycloak admin service. Okay, and then we set the email. We persist into the database, so it's going to be consistent from what we have on the Keycloak and from what will we have on the application database. Okay, and then we return the response DTO, otherwise it's going to be throw an error. Okay, here. Okay, so again, one more. So the pipeline is going to be like this. We provide the registration form, parent, register, and it's going to be on the Keycloak, and then after that we call it this register parent from the parent service, and it takes the user ID from the create user from the Keycloak service, create new parent entities, set the Keycloak email, and persist to database. So we have a consistent entities between Keycloak and the database application database. Okay, and I think that's all. This is another instances for this is another method for the for other endpoint, for example gateway ID, but it's not that relevant now. I can show you how it looks like on the endpoint. Error resource, so it's going to be post called register parent to be consistent with the business logic. So it's just called from the parent service register parent. We return the response DTO. Okay, and this is another one, and then this is really important for us, because if you see here on our just a second, I'll show you the source DB migration. Okay, so on our established database that we push it, or we create it with the flyway, because the swimmers can only be created from parents. Okay, so the admin, well, admin actually can also add the swimmers, but again, because swimmer has to have parents, that's why we cannot just create a dummy swimmers here on the system, because it needs this parent ID. It needs parent ID. It should be not null. Okay, so we cannot. I can show you I can show you how it goes without creating the parents first. So the swimmer, we try to create a swimmer. Okay, try it. Just do test swimmer born 2020. Okay, if you see here, first it won't be unauthorized because I already secured the API with if you see here swimmer, let me show you if we go here, no, resource, swimmer resource, oops, so if you see here, it's already authenticated, so we cannot really create that one, but I can just call it first here. Let me see if I can do it here. Hopefully you can, just to show you. Yeah, it's still unauthorized, okay, because we need the token here, okay. So yeah, so that works. Okay, yeah, that's the idea. So again, sorry. So the pipeline goes through create a parent registered, get into the Keycloak database, and then we persist into the application database. So the parent can so we can create the swimmer, and then swimmer will be persisted also into the application database. So it's the idea. If we look at here on the swimmer, sorry, swimmer surface. Okay, so if you see here the swimmer, so when we would like to create the create swimmer, so we have the Keycloak user ID, and we have to retrieve the parent as well, and then we can create the entity, okay, because like I show you here on the database that the swimmer needs to have parent, and it can be not null. So yeah, we need to create the parents first, fetch the user ID, and then we find the parent with the ID, create a new swimmer, and then we assign the parent to the swimmer, and then we persist the swimmer into the database, and we return to response DTO. Okay, hopefully it's clear. So we are going to have a demo right now on the Swagger API. Okay, yeah, so first I think we are going to create a parent. I already have a dummy, but let's do it another time. Let's do it one more time. So we are going to have here just test parent3 at mail.com, test parent3, username is going to be test par, and then password 13456. Hopefully yeah, so it returns 200. So first name test, last name parent3. Okay, so we have this parent now. If we are going to see here on the parents list, we can see here that it's already created into the database. Oh wait, okay, it's the recursive again, so no problem, we can fix it later, but it's already there. So now we can create the swimmer. So another test swimmer, date of birth, and then if we are I don't think we can do it for I think it's still, yeah, now we are going to have to here, I think what was the user again? think it's taskbar 3, I guess. Taskbar, okay, taskbar. I think it's taskbar 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Client ID is swim app, and the client secret I think it's admin. So this is the client secret. If you want to look at it, localhost, you go into your realms, my project, no clients, swim app. So in credential, you see here client secret. This is the one that you provided here. Okay, I think it's, yeah, it's admin. So authorize. Cool. Now we can persist the swimmer into the database. Hopefully it works. Now it's the parent. Now it's that swimmer. So yeah, response, swimmer ID 8, first name task, last swimmer. Okay, 201 created, and then I think we can go for here and fetch out this swimmer. Oh no, sorry, because swimmers also need a level. Okay, so yeah, we just assign the course first here. Try it out. You guys remember the create swimmer? Oh, swimmer ID 8. Okay, we are going to have 8 here. Course ID, I think 1 is beginner, 2 is intermediate. I already saw that one. So yeah, so we assign the intermediate course to the swimmer, and then now we are going to assign the level. It's also intermediate. Level ID 2. Cool. Okay, now we can fetch the swimmer. Yep. So ID 2 is the intermediate course on Tuesday 16:30. So that's all. So I think that works. I just need to work on the the parent, I guess. The parents list. Yeah, I think I think it's the recursive part. I shouldn't return another parent, but I'll just save it for later on. But yeah, I think that's the idea. Hopefully it's helpful. If you have any suggestion or advice, feel free to leave a comment down below. And then yeah, thank you again. I'll see you on the next video. I think on the next video we are going to be on the front end part. Hopefully it will have more fun, and then yeah, happy learning.